This video will be covering the Octbox Ultimate Fishing Station. It's going to be detailing the parts you're going to receive, how they're going to be packed, and how you're going to put everything together. Now there are obviously a number of configuration points because when you order the Ultimate Fishing Station you get a few choices. In this video we're going to be demonstrating the D36 chassis. Obviously if you've ordered the D25 it's much the same setup, it's just a case of fitting the legs. Same with the drawers, we're showing 2 drawer modules there that make up 5 drawers. Obviously if you've ordered a different configuration you'll still get 2 drawer modules but the configuration you've ordered. And finally the seat. In this demonstration we're showing the rotating seat, but if you've ordered the padded seat then that will be fitted to actually one of the drawer modules, packed in the seat box, and the additional drawers will be packed on their own in the accessory box. So what I'll do now is I'll go through how you're going to receive it, which is in this essence, if you've ordered it with a rotating seat, will be in 5 boxes. What we recommend you don't do is empty all the boxes out into the middle of the room because you just create yourself a big jigsaw puzzle. So the biggest box will be the main assembly, which will be the seat box itself. It will be in a box called seat box, and it will be semi-built exactly as you see here. The rear and middle legs will be fitted, the height frame will be fitted. The only things you'll need to fit is the actual KeepNet toolbar extension frame, the footplate legs, the inner legs, and the height frame raised to the height you want, the drawers clipped on, and then the padded seat clipped on. So that will be box 1. Box 2 will be your umbrella, the 2 support brackets for the umbrella, and the bait waiter support leg. That bait waiter support leg you'll only ever need to use if you're using the umbrella. Add a security, stop the bait, the actual seat box tipping over. Then you've got your bait waiter lid and hinges. They'll be in a box marked bait waiter. The rotating seat will be in its own box if you've ordered that configuration. As we mentioned earlier, if you've ordered the standard padded seat, it'll be fitted to the drawer, and that leaves you with your final box, which will be your accessory box, and that will include your top kit set roost, front and rear parts, the adapter bar with the square adapters that's extendable that will join the front and rear together, the adapter bar roost that will allow you to set the angle. Then you've got your bump bar with pivoting arms and posts, your ground bait swivel tray, additional 2 pivoting arms that are to help you set the bait waiter a bit further away from your box, and then a couple of accessory bars and posts to help you get the perfect setup. So that's the parts. What we'll do now is we'll go through building the system, starting with what we would say is the best way to start is the seat box. Then we'll fit the bait waiter, and then we'll go through the fitting of the accessories to end up with what we consider to be the ideal setup for this system. In terms of setting the seat box up, first thing you're going to do is remove the slides for your keep nets and put them so they're facing up. Fix them in place. At this point I'll normally take these keep net adapters, once you fit them to the keep nets you'll leave them there permanently, and you'll have one spare for the middle of the foot plate. You don't have to use them there, you can fit them with pole socks and they'll fit onto the top of any leg. So step 1, we're going to fit the extending toolbar, keep net bar into the frame. The reason why we don't fit it in transit is just so it doesn't get damaged. In the drawer, this normally the 2 cm drawer, you're going to find an Allen key. Okay, loosen off the adapters, pull the frame up to roughly where you think it's going to be, and here's where, in terms of tightening, what we recommend is just tighten them up loosely to start with, because obviously what you want to do is use the inner leg as a guide to make sure you've not over tightened it. We'll cover that in a sec. So I've just done it so the clamp is just touching. We don't fit the foot plate legs. Everything else though is going to be fitted as you see it. So leg one, two. At this point I can put the bolts in to secure the moving post. Now all the bolts, with the exception of the black and white bolts, will actually be fitted to the box. So all these little tiny bolts, etc., we can fit them. We've fitted them to save you time. And at this point, I'll just move the foot plate forward slightly, just to help me put the inner legs in. I'll put one in. What we can do now is go back to our clamps. We're going to loosen the clamp off and then get it so it just touches the leg, and then we're going to give it a half turn and just check the inner leg still, then a quarter turn. I'm still checking the inner leg, and then a full turn. You won't need to do more than a full turn. Same again here. I'm going to loosen it off. I can feel when the clamp reaches the leg. I'll do a half turn, check that the inner leg's still moving, then I'll do a quarter turn, and then I'll do a full turn. If at any point you find the inner leg is starting to be impeded, at that point just slacken it off a bit and you've reached the maximum that you can go without damaging the inner leg. Now we can click the drawers on. So that's the main assembly fixed. What we'll do now is we'll bring the bait waiter in and I'll fix the bait waiter. So as you can see, we've built the seat box. I've just got to clip the seat on. What we're going to do now is I'm going to put the bait waiter on with these pivoting arms. Now the bait waiter will come packed with the bait waiter lid and the hinges. These two pivoting arms, which you don't have to fit, but I certainly think they make a massive difference. It moves the box slightly, the side table slightly further away from the box and slightly forward. And these will be packed, not with a bait waiter, in your accessory box. And step one, if you're on a D36, here's one of the advantages of the D36, obviously. You have the advantage to raise accessories much higher than the top of the legs. And you can see here, I have much more options. Now, there is on these, you'll see, they're a pair. So you've got a couple of choices where you want the black and white. I find it best for me to go in that sort of setup. It's just a case of lining up. And you can see there, I've brought the bait waiter slightly further forward. The black and white bolts and bolts in general won't be fitted. In terms of the back lid, you'll see there's like a little bit extending. Now I've got that. It's easy to think about and get it that way, but it won't go, look. Okay, so it'll only go one way, and then you're going to be slotting it into back of the bait weighter, and then move. You can see there I've got some movement on the bait weighter. Move it forward before you secure it, and that gives you, that releases this adapter on the back, which we can use for other accessories later on. So that's the bait weighter fitted. So what we'll do now is we'll go on to removing it and fitting the next accessory. Fitting the padded seat, it's already got a plate on, simply goes on. Here's where you can get some idea of where you are. Obviously in this case I'll just lower the frame slightly. At the same point I'm just checking the seat rotates nicely, and as you can see, because I've got more post available on the D36, there are options on the D25 to give you the same setup, but you can see there the advantage of getting accessories to the height you need them. And for me, I like my bait weighter to be much higher. That's much more convenient, and what I've done by fitting these pivoting arms, I've moved the bait weighter further forward, which means it's much more convenient because I've got better access to the back of the tray. The bump bar assembly will consist of the bump bar, 2 posts, 2 pivot arms. To fit them, pivot arms in the end of the extending toolbar. When fishing, I tend to like my bump bar more tilted to the right. It also gives me more room on the left to land the fish. And the bump bar is also at this stage probably going to be over my keep net, so it's not going to affect. And because it's on an extending toolbar, unlike a lot of seat boxes, particularly if you're tall, you can obviously extend this out another 1.5 foot further out, and if you go fully out, I won't go all the way, you can even fit a keep net in this side, which is great because it's on the inside of the bump bar, which means the bump bar doesn't get in the way of putting fish in the net. So that's the bump bar fixed. Once you've got it in the position you want, just tighten it up, and obviously if you're using it as a wheelbarrow, you can put this straight and your rod bag will be supported over the top. Next item in the accessory box to come out is a swivel tray and ground bait tray. There'll be 2 ground bait trays, the swivel tray and a pivot pin. My preferred setup, if the weather will permit, is to put this on my right hand side, and obviously if I'm on the D36 I'm on a post that I can extend, and then I'll tend to put my other ground bait tray in the front of the bait weighter. And because I've moved the bait weighter forward, my 4 bait boxes here, the rear ones are still easy to get at. If I hadn't pivoted it forward, the back of the tray doesn't work as well. And in the event I've got rain and I can't fish it as effectively, what I can also do is I can use that pivot pin to put it underneath and pivot the tray so it will actually go under when it's in the rain, and then when I need it I can get it to pivot all the way in, and you can appreciate if I've got a couple of guru boxes in there, very useful. So that's the swivel tray. Next accessory we're going to go through is the top kit set. You're going to get the rear and front parts, the inserts for the making sure your top kits don't come out when it's windy will not be fitted. You'll choose how many you want to fit in. If you're fitting rods in as well, always remember the next one to where the rod will be going needs to be free, because you need to take into account the rod handle. You can see when I pack it away, it fits away quite neatly like that. I tend to put that in my bait bag. And then what we're going to do as well as that, you will have the actual bar that's connected the front to the rear. You're going to have this accessory bar, which is with round adapters that we're going to use to fix to the rear of the box, a post, and the actual angled adapter. So we'll go through now. First thing I'm going to fit is on the rear spigot of the bait waiter. I'm going to fit a post, and the reason I'm doing this is I want to get the bait, the top kit set, so it's going down the bank and not twisting behind me, because if it twists behind me it gets in the way of my landing net if I'm using a small bomb rod, and that's where stuff gets in the way and you're making compromise. You can see here I'm just setting it up so that the top is just touching this. That way if the wind's blowing from behind, it can't blow it any further. It's fixing it in place. For guys going out and fishing out of the water, we actually do a brace that can brace it in place, but 99% of the fishing you're going to do, you're not going to need that. And then this will go in the front. And that's the top kit set fitted. Final part of the jigsaw puzzle is the umbrella. You're going to get the umbrella, 2 umbrella support brackets, a support leg which will be essential to fit in the back of the bait waiter just to make sure the wind doesn't catch the umbrella and tip the box over, and a post that you're going to fit your brackets to. And we recommend one of the best places to put the umbrella is to fix the post into the adapter in the back of the bait waiter. If you lift the lid up, you can put the first bracket down all the way down to the bottom, and it will not impede the closure of the lid. And if we put the other bracket quite high up, you'll notice the lid clears it as well. Yeah. So the umbrella's got various setups, which can be set up from these 2 clamps depending on where the wind's coming from. But as you can see here, if I set it up on tilt mode, I've got quite a variance of angle I can set it at. Yeah. And if I can lower it down as much as I want, and you can see there as an example, I've still got full access. I've given myself plenty of cover, and without getting in the way. I don't need to worry too much about the bait waiter because of course I've got that as cover. Okay, I'm just covering my head, and I've got plenty of freedom still to get in my top kits and everything else. And obviously important, that is a very long support leg that you need to fit in whenever you're using the umbrella, because the last thing you want is the wind when you get off the box to tip the box over when you've got a lot of money on your top kit sets. So that's the Ultimate Bait Station. Hopefully that'll give you all of the information you need to know to build it and get the most out of it.